Video interviews are everywhere, especially with the current situation of COVID-19 and many companies implementing work from home. Video conference has already become the default interview mode. With the increasing number of video interviews, it is essential for us to clearly understand the online etiquette as well as the best practice and common mistakes when it comes to virtual interviews. Hi, my name is Matt, and I'm an executive search consultant and a career coach at Pinpoint Asia. For this video, we will not cover the general interview tips such as how to prepare beforehand, handling tough questions, communication skills, and post-interview follow-up, and etc. Those topics will be covered in future videos. But for today, we will cover video conference specific tips that will help you with your interviews immediately. Let's check it out. Number 1, how to set up your interview location. You want to scope out and decide your interview location well in advance. You want to be in a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. And if there are other people in the house, you may want to lock the door to your room so that no one will come in unexpectedly. You also want to think about your background. You'll be surprised at how many people miss this. Your background needs to be clean, professional, and there should be nothing distracting or inappropriate. The next thing you want to think about is lighting. Make sure you're in a well-lit place where the interviewers can see your face clearly. Also, you might not want to sit with your back to the window, especially if there is a lot of light coming in from there. Lastly, virtual background. While virtual background can be fun and creative, I wouldn't use it for your interview. The reason is it can be an additional source of distraction, and also it will just not look very professional if your face or some part of your body becomes hidden by the virtual background, which happens quite often. All these small details, when combined, can significantly enhance or reduce the experience of the interviewers, which can have a huge impact on how they remember you and your feedback. Number 2, technology. The next set of details that you have to ensure is a technical aspect, such as your interview connection speed, which needs to be fast enough for a video call. Make sure that your VC softwares are properly set up and up to date, and also that your camera is working, and etc. Please check these things well in advance. You'd be surprised how many times I see candidates who have to change their laptop or phone 5 minutes before the interview because they just found out that it's not working. Also, I've even seen cases where people had to change to a phone interview instead of VC because, again, they found out their camera isn't working and they couldn't find an alternative in time. It's just not a good way for you to make your first impression. And even if you work it out just in time, you will not be in the right state of mind to focus and perform well. A few more things. I would try to use a laptop or computer than a phone because you will have a bigger screen and be able to see the interviewer better. And this one is quite important. Try to place your camera at the eye level. In this way, you will look most natural, and also the interviewers do not have to stare up at your nostrils, which is probably not what you want. Number 3, presentation. What should you wear for your web interview? You should wear the same set of clothes that you would in an in-person meeting. For example, if you are going to wear a formal business attire for a face-to-face meeting, do the same for VC. Or if the company has a dress-down culture and you are going to wear more casually, again, do the same in video conference. You should approach your web meetings with the same level of commitment and seriousness as you would in a physical meeting. Now, where should you look at during your interview? Most people on a Zoom meeting, for example, would look at the interviewers on the screen or themselves. But if you do that, that means you're just not making eye contact. Let me demonstrate for you. Here, I am looking at the camera lens. Here, I'm looking at the screen. If I look at the camera lens, I'm making eye contact. But if I look away, even just a little bit, you can tell I am not making eye contact. Here, I look engaged and connected. But again, if I look away and look at the screen, you can tell I look definitely less engaged here. Even if the difference may seem rather subtle, in a one-on-one meeting, this can have a huge impact as to the kind of impressions that the interviewers will have of you. Remember, it's not so much what you say that they will remember the most, it's how you make them feel. Of course, you can't just look at the camera the whole time because you do have to look at their facial expressions and body language on the screen. So what I suggest is try to remind yourself and remember to look at the camera as often as you can to make eye contact, even if it's a bit awkward or challenging at first. A good tip is to have a little note that says, look here next to your lens so that you can remind yourself. Number 4, focus. It is much easier to lose focus or be distracted during a Zoom call or VC, especially if you are at home. There may be messages, pop-ups, phones ringing, and etc. As tempting as it may be, do not check messages or go for those things and lose focus. There's nothing as off-putting as talking to somebody who is not paying attention to you, especially in an interview. I suggest that you turn off any device that you do not need for the interview and give your 100% attention to the interviewer, just as you would in a face-to-face meeting. Number 5, this is a pro tip, which is to record yourself and watching yourself on camera afterwards. This is probably one of the best ways to prepare for your interview, your virtual interview. In fact, it is a great way to improve your presentation and communication skills in any setting, but especially for online meetings, this is even more beneficial. The reason is we all have these little habits when we speak, whether it be looking at somewhere else or making facial expressions or sounds we make, or even the quality and the intonation of our voice. And we don't recognize these things because we cannot see how we speak and we don't really think about these things. But how we look on camera is almost exactly how other people will see us or what they will see when we talk to them. I understand. I mean, it is awkward, it is embarrassing to record and see yourself on camera. I remember the first time I did it, to be honest, it was quite painful. But I was able to learn and recognize what I look like or how I speak, and I was able to learn and grow because of it. To be honest, what have you got to lose? Just have fun and try it. Again, this is one of the most effective and fastest ways for you to grow in your presentation skills, and I highly recommend it. That's it for today. Hope you found this video useful. As a recap, here is a summary of everything we covered. Set up your interview environment, including the background and lighting. Make sure that there will be no interruption. Check well in advance that all your technical setup is done. This includes your internet speed and making sure your camera is working, software is up to date, and etc. Also, try to place the camera at the eye level. Make sure that you're appropriately and professionally dressed, just like in a physical meeting. Try to look at the camera lens and not just the screen. Turn off all other electronic devices to minimize distraction. Make sure that you stay focused during the entirety of the interview. And lastly, record yourself talking to the camera and review what areas you can improve. Please leave any questions or comments below, especially if you have any specific topics or questions you'd like us to cover. Please let us know, and we will do our best to develop our future content around them. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys soon.